Hey guys, this is the WalterFootball.com After Dark show for April 10, 2024. We're going to be doing Masters picks and DFS content on the show. I'm joined by three guys to help me do it. Before we intro them, please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video, visit the link in the description for the merch store. All that would mean a lot to us. If you really want to help support the show, there's super chats. So we had some great ones last week. Slew with 555, John Sanders with his usual 911, Kevin Kovac with super stickers, see Nuggets laughing already. Yeah, all that would really help us out. As I always say, YouTube ads pay us nothing. You'd be better off going out the street, picking up change, or playing season-long fantasy basketball or baseball. Yeah, let's go left to right here. Joined by Jacob Camenker from the Sporting News. Jacob, how are you?
I'm good. I'm the one who's playing season-long fantasy baseball, and we were trying to calculate how much per hour I will make if I win the league, and it came out to about 2 cents. So, got to probably scale down my work in that area as I look to make some money off of golf. But, glad to be here and glad four-man panel. This one's new for me. I don't know if I've ever been on a four-man show, or if I have, it's been a while.
All right. One of the golf guys, Butters, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Jacob, you should invest into that instead of your penny stocks.
Yep, that's the plan. That's what I'll do. I'll win that, and I'll be like, I've done it. I beat penny stocks at least.
Butters, by the way, gave me some valuable live stats yesterday, which was really helpful in the completing my model and stuff like that. So at least I'll know a little bit about those guys talking about the show. Also joined by Nuggets, who was on the show during the season for one episode for stepping in for Kenny for a fantasy football show, for DFS show. So Nuggets, how are you? How have you been?
I'm doing great. My big sport's hockey, and it's been a great season. So really looking forward to get back into golf. This is my favorite week of the year. I mean, we just finished the NCAA tournament, and now we're getting into golf. And I do not do season-long baseball, thank God, or else I'd have a heart attack. And I really don't need the 2 cents. So
it's 2 cents per hour. Let's make that
2 cents per hour. Right?
This
when you
adds up over time.
It's a little hard.
Right. This is almost as good as a bank account these days. This fantasy baseball and basketball. I was saying before the show that I did fantasy baseball once. I did fantasy basketball once, and I actually won both leagues. And after both leagues were done, I'm like, I'm never doing this again. This is way too much. It's not worth it, especially now with DFS going on.
Yeah, the DFS route is the way to go. You have to pay attention too much at season long. At least at DFS, you can just do all your research one day if you have the time, and that usually works better.
Well, speaking of champions, I won both the home leagues last year for the NCAA brackets, and I just decided this year, I'm good, and I'm so glad I didn't.
I didn't watch much of it. I did watch the championship. It was kind of a snooze fest. I always do this whenever I'm not watching NFL sports content. I'm always like, I watch the first half and then halftime happens and I'm like, oh, I'm tired. Let me sleep. And then like I wake up, and there's 5 minutes left in the game. I'm like, I always miss like the best parts. It's always happens to me. But we have a comment here from Cinder saying, Walt, what a beast. But I wish you would stop picking the damn best players for your NBA props. Our NBA sides have been awesome. NBA props have been lackluster lately. I don't know. Like the props were really good for most of the year. Maybe at the end of the year I have to make some adjustments, but I will try to do better with the props. But let's get this kicked off here. Let's do the DFS first, and I guess we can talk about the betting aspect of each player as we go too. I'll mention which golfers I've bet so far, and I think we should break this down to like segments. So like we'll do the 10K guys first, and that includes Scotty Scheffler at 12-1. Then we have John Rahm at 11-2, Rory McIlroy 10-8, Brooks Koepka 10-2, and Wyndham Clark somehow, some way has made it into the 10K range at 10 flat. Personally, I think the Scheffler price makes no sense to me because if you look at the betting odds, Scheffler's like plus 450 or plus 480. He's 480 a bookmaker, which is where I bet him. And he's like way ahead of everyone else. Like John Rahm, I'll put this up now. John Rahm is 11-1, Rory is 11-1. But then when you look at their DFS prices, like they're only about 1,000 apart, which doesn't really make much sense to me. Whereas like Scheffler in the betting market is just way ahead. So I feel like Scheffler should be closer to 13K personally. So I know that, like, I don't know if some of you guys play MME or if you guys do single entry. I do single entry. So Scheffler is definitely going to be my lineup. I think he's going to win. Rahm is, after he won the Masters last year, he just hasn't golfed as well. Like he's been doing, like, he's still really good. He's still one of the best players in the world. But at this, I feel like since the Masters last year, he just hasn't lived up to his potential. Rory's been struggling lately. Brooks Koepka the same, and Wyndham Clark is. It's kind of like that meme where you have guys in business suits and like big birds joining them. I would not play Wyndham Clark at 10K. So let's go left to right. What do you guys think about this range? And if you're betting with some of these guys, who are you betting?
Yeah, so I actually like Wyndham Clark more than you. DFS pricing, I don't know that he's going to make the cut in my final lineup because I think there are some other people similarly priced to him that will do well. But as you know, Walt, I run a golf model on a weekly basis that kind of tries to figure out who's going to be the best fit for the course based off how they've played this year. Clark actually came out at number 2 in that model. Scotty Scheffler came in 3rd. So both of them are very strong plays this week. I know there's some concern about the fact that Clark hasn't played the Masters before, but I just think that the way that he hits the ball, his ball striking ability, and when he is hot with the putter, he can be just pretty unbeatable. So I like the idea of betting on him. I think I've seen him as low as 45-1, so I think that's worth a shot. In DFS lineups, I think Scheffler is the much safer play. And you really can't play 2 10K guys unless you're doing true stars and scrubs approach. So I would probably lean on Scheffler more. It's just more consistency, more proven history with the course. Heck, he won here a couple years ago. So I think I'm right there with you. But I do like Wyndham Clark a little bit more than you. But I do think there is some sticker shock seeing him up into the 5-digit figures in terms of price.
Butters?
Yeah, I kind of, when it comes to Scheffler, you're kind of either all in or all out, but we've kind of seen all season that fading Scheffler has just been a bad, you've lost basically because you needed him in just so many DFS tournaments here this year because he's always putting himself into contention. He should put himself into contention here as well. Like, it's very hard to see him not top 5 here when he's just coming into just basically like a tiger run of this case. Like, he could just go in and just walk in, and wouldn't be surprising if he just goes, wins 3, 4, 5 times in a row. Granted, I mean, he just got it. He only was able to go back to back this within the last couple of weeks, but he's way above everyone else right now. And I mean, even with the top 3, where if you would consider Scheffler, Rahm, and Rory, I mean, I'm still not a big fan of Rory, but I mean, when it comes to game theory, I get it. But when it comes to Scheffler, he's just miles ahead of everyone. And if you'll have a fun sweat regardless if you play him. He might be playing with half the field because he's going to be so high owned, but he's just a no-brainer. Other players that I've kind of looked at, of course, Jon Rahm. He went to live. He doesn't look like he's been caring, but he's still one of the best in the world. I think he's actually the best in the world, still above Scheffler, even though Scheffler's on this amazing run. But you can question the fact for instance, with Jon Rahm leaving, I mean, he hasn't had much of contenders to play against him. So I'll have some interest in Rahm as well. I know you can't really double dip unless you're, if you're like Walter said, if you're going to a real stars and scrubs, but you may just have to pick who your top guys are at the top. And actually, I like all but Rory in this range. For me, I just don't like the narrative of Rory coming in, trying to get the Grand Slam. He looks good. He did get it. He did get himself kind of in contention last week for position wise, but he just had an amazing round 4. Looked like he was just trying to avoid bogeys and just get himself prepared for the Masters. But just for that, Brooks is a big game killer, is a big game hunter. he's always going to come into Masters and he could have the worst form imaginable and just put himself in contention. And so I can't fade that. And then Wyndham Clark, I remember playing him when he was in the 7K range, and he had no wins. He just kind of does that spike player, and then all of a sudden he just clicked and he hit the ball. He's hit all cylinders, and you got to ride the wave, and he's still hot, right? Still playing very, very hot.
Yeah, I don't disagree, Alex. And it's funny. I mean, if you skip Scotty, right, I think in MMEs you're going to be instantly different, right? We're talking somebody who might be 50% owned. You're talking about you see in between. If you build a Scotty lineup, right? I just built a few of them. You automatically have to dip down to like the 7Ks to make it work, right? Or you have to dumpster dive and pray for like a 6K or even a 5K. Sorry, 62. I think is the lowest we go. But you look at that and it's like, do I really want to do that, or do I want to get a little bit more balanced, right? And to your point, maybe you get a Brooks, maybe you get a Wyndham, and then kind of build from there, right? Because I think it makes you instantly different enemies. Single entries, I think it's Scotty or bust. I really do. I mean, I think he's just going to be so, I think just match the field and kind of go with it. Because I think if you're looking for a single entry, even a cashy type lineup, he's just going to be the guy that everyone starts with. And people are willing to punt there because they'll grab something else. Maybe they go like Scotty and Denny, right? Because I see that's been getting a lot of steam last probably last 2 days in a row, because everyone's talking like Scotty, Denny, and then going to Hideki or something like that, right? But then you're missing out on the Brooks and Xanders of the world. You're also missing out on, Rory and Wyndham. So I think there's just so much more value you can get if you just kind of fade Scotty in those larger field MMEs.
Yeah, so like I said, I bet Scheffler at 480 on Bookmaker. He's kind of like a built-in hedge, I feel like, and this is just a great course for him too. So it just feels like,
No disagreement.
Yeah, it feels like a no-brainer just to have him in as a hedge. And I like I said, I think he should be more expensive. I think he should be in the 13K range. Like if he was that high in single entry, I'd be like, oh man, this is a pretty tough decision. But like he's only 900 more than Rahm, only 1,300 more than Rory, who's been struggling. Like we kind of agree. I think Scheffler's a no-brainer here. So I'm gonna, like I said, my only entry, I'm gonna be playing him in the 9K range. I was trying to get the Xander Schauffele with Scheffler, and I had issues doing that. I mean, it's definitely possible if you punt a few times. I just based on the golfers I liked, I just couldn't get there. Joaquin Niemann has been amazing this year, but in live, so there's a bit of an asterisk there. Patrick Cantley has been struggling, so can't really back him. Jordan Spieth, I think is okay, but he has his Q tag. He has a wrist injury, so I'd rather just avoid that. I like Will Zalatoris a lot. He's coming off a back injury that he had last year, but he had second and fourth in recent performances. He's had a great history at the Masters, not an extensive history, but he's finished super high in his appearances. It feels like he's a great fit for this course. So Zalatoris is like one of the two guys I'm considering as my second fiddle to Scheffler. There's Aberg. His first time golfing at this tournament, kind of like Wyndham Clark, so that kind of takes me off of him. Wouldn't shock me if he top five because he's so talented, but I think I'm just going to stay away. And then Hideki is the other guy I'm considering as the second fiddle. He won the Masters here a few years ago. Is a great fit for this golf course. He's been doing well, first, sixth, and seventh in 3 of his past 4. I bet him as well. I think. Let me see. So I have my betting card here. I bet Hideki at 22-1 on FanDuel, and I bet Will Zalatoris at 45-1 a bookmaker. Feels like that Zalatoris number is great. I thought he'd be like 30-1. So I was pretty shocked to see that. Hideki, not too shocked to see 22-1. It's not like a fantastic number, but I think he could do really well here. So let's go left to right again. What do you guys think of this 9K range, both DFS wise, betting wise?
Yeah, so my favorite play in this is Xander Schauffele. He's number 1 in my model this week. He just has such a well-rounded game, and I know that he's never won a major, and he gets really, really close, but never quite gets there. So I know some people will be scared off of him by that. But I just think with the way that he's been playing and the fact that he has the talent needed to get to win this course, I think 9,900 seems like a good value to me. I was maybe not shocked, but I was a little surprised that Wyndham Clark was even just $100 ahead of him on this. So I might make some lineups if I fade Scheffler in some of them where I pair Clark and Schauffele as like kind of my top two guys and create one of those balanced lineups like you were talking about, Nuggets. Like that would be my play. If you're going to spend down on Scheffler, I would go Schauffele in addition to whatever other high-end guy that you get there. And I'm right there with you on Hideki too. I think he's going to be really good at this course. He ranks 11th in my model right now, which is rock solid for him. And he's been on a pretty hot streak lately. He won the Masters a few years ago too, so we know he's a good course fit here. Yeah, he's had top 12 finishes in his last 4 starts, and that includes a win at the Genesis. So he's really just been in the mix for a long time now, and I just think that he's going to be able to ride that hot streak. So getting him at just $9K, that seems like a good value. I know some people will be a little scared by the fact that he gets hurt every now and then and sometimes has to withdraw or sometimes just tweaks a little something and isn't quite himself throughout the tournament. So that's something to watch, but I'm not too worried about that. I'm not as high on Will Zalatoris as you are, Walt. I just think he's been a little up and down. I will say this, he has the ceiling needed to be the top golfer at the Masters and to win it. And he has a great course history. And I think that will help him out in this spot. But I worry that part of the reason he's a little up and down is because he's coming back from that back injury. So I wonder if he's kind of still shaking off some of the rust. And yeah, some weeks he might feel great and get up to that tie for second or tie for fourth that you see on his card here. But other weeks, like at the Players' Championship, he just didn't quite have it as much, and he missed the cut. So I think he could contend, but I'm not willing to put him in my DFS lineup. I think the fact that you got him at like 45-1, though, I'm cool if you like Zalatoris betting him on that number. But I've seen him as short as like 25-1, and I just wouldn't touch him at that. If you're going to shop around and find something in the 40 range, that's great. But otherwise, I don't really want to back him. And that's just my opinion on him. But he has the ceiling needed to win.
Sorry, I was trying to pull up the odds currently here right now for Hideki on DraftKings just to see if there's any difference.
It's 4,500.
It's still 45. It's 4,500. Okay. I mean, that's pretty long odds. He's going to be a very popular bet.
Sorry, Hideki's plus 2,000.
Oh, okay. Yeah, when you said
20-1 on FanDuel as well.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah. But he's going to be actually a pretty still popular bet even at that price. Just because, you can see that he's just been kind of one of the hottest players minus Scotty Scheffler. And actually, it's probably going to be very common to see Scheffler and Hideki paired in many DFS lineups. And so kind of just for that reason as a game theory idea, I either want one, both, or possibly none. But I doubt that I would go none in that case, but I would lean more if you're going to play one of the two, definitely Scheffler over Hideki. So I'm kind of low on him for that reason. Actually, my favorite golfer in that range is actually going to be Joaquin Niemann. And I was actually shocked to see some initial ownership projections here early. And I thought he would be much higher owned. I thought he would be higher owned than Brooks. And I'm actually surprised to see that Brooks actually might be more popular than Joaquin Niemann. I mean, he's won twice on LIV. And another important stat that's coming into this tournament is he's gained strokes off the tee. And that's actually very important here at Augusta because you want to have it accurate, but also you also want to have that control as well. So even though you're gaining strokes off the tee, it also tells me a little bit that he's being aware of the course as well, because in some cases you're not just driving it as far as you can. You actually want to shorten up your drive a little bit and be able to get yourself in the right angles, but also be able to hit it straight. Another player that I've been kind of looking at there in that position, in that range as well, is probably Will Zalatoris as well, just because of the fact that he just putts so well at this course. He just seems to be able to know all the corners and just have that kind of feel, or like how he was talking about in his press release, that he's just kind of painting a picture on the greens. I mean, that brings a lot of confidence, especially that, any golfer can really have a spike putting around out of nowhere. But if you can be consistent with it and he knows the course, I mean, it's kind of one of those weeks where, you do want to kind of throw ownership out of the window when you're building like a DFS lineup, because course history is very important at this course, because it's just players that know their ins and their outs of the course. So how do you organically get different? And I've seen him getting lower owned than I thought, but again, there could be a late steam coming up for there.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that, Butters, because with the putting in particular, right? I mean, these greens are insanely fast, right? There's no grainy Bermuda to deal with, right? So I start thinking about like Hideki and Will Zalatoris, because like they're known to putt like that, right? Like they like those types of greens. They can adapt. Other players not so much, right? Any kind of those Bermuda putters are going to be in trouble, right? So Willie and Hideki come to mind, where I think you can get them at a discount there. For me, I mean, all of a sudden, like Neiman has come out of nowhere. Like I've heard his name probably more than anybody in the last 24 to 48 hours, of like people just jamming him and Scotty. And I'm like, when did Joaquin Neiman become like the guy? And I'm kind of confused by it all. So I need to do a little bit more work into him. But, if you're telling me you can get him at 9% ownership and you can avoid Hideki at 20%, which could be a little bit more chalkier route. And, Hideki has that bitch quit mentality in him. I could just see something like that happening. I mean, granted, Hideki has been playing great and the stats kind of back it up. So, I mean, I'm playing a multitude of lineups in both the $100 and the $10. I'm doing about 75 in the $10 and doing 25 in the 100. So I'm probably going to do combinations of like Scotty Hideki, Scotty Neiman, just to kind of get some leverage on the field. But I'm not going to go crazy 100%. I can see those combinations, but I don't want to eat all that chalk when I can get different below, where there's some guys I think there's some great values below.
I will mention too that if you are going to play the game of fading Scotty Scheffler, I think you got to think of two scenarios. One is he wins.
His wife goes into labor. His wife goes
into labor. Yes.
That is the one scenario that could happen, because he already said he's out.
Yep.
Evan Burns.
I mean, he's already won once. He can. Yeah, you can't miss the birth of your firstborn. But you got to think of kind of two scenarios if you're fading Scotty. Other than that, is if he wins, then you got to find everyone else that can be that perfect, everyone else to get there just because of this price. I mean, you have to be really lucky to do so. But you'd have to have literally the nuts to win it. But it is certainly possible. And then the other scenario is just, what if he doesn't win? What if he was only top 5? And I mean, I hate saying that because fading him has really hurt you this entire season. However, what if something, as Nuggets was saying earlier, what if you go a little bit more of a balanced approach to do so? So what if you see the scenario of maybe it's Joaquin and Brooks going up as a 1 and 2? I mean, that's going to be a very interesting scenario. Plus, it's going to be very low owned as well. 2 live guys in the top 2 winning this tournament. I don't think a lot of people are playing that route.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that you talk about like different scenarios like that, but I think it details the difference between single entry and MME. Whereas like if I'm doing single entry, like I said, and Scheffler is no brainer for me. But if I was doing 150 lineups, of course you're gonna sprinkle some guys in here and there. But Scheffler he's like so safe. It would be shocking if he wasn't in the top 10. And like you said, you're like top 5. That's bad for him, and I think that the top 5 is single entry. You're definitely going to take that all day. So that's really the difference, and it really depends on how you play. If you're only doing 1 entry and it's in a smaller field, probably won't Scheffler. But if you're doing a tournament where there are hundreds of thousands of people, you're going to want to build your lineups differently. Cassandra says, did any of you watch the women's NCAA championship that the media claims 19 million people did? Because I can't find anyone who tuned in. I guess that's basketball, I assume. I didn't even know that existed. I didn't know
You
that
didn't
happened.
watch Caitlin Clark put up 18 points in the first quarter?
I'm not sure that is, but
As somebody who had to buy both of his daughters Caitlin Clark jerseys,
oh
because
really?
now, yes, and when the Indiana pitch, I think it is, or Indiana Fever,
Fever.
drafts her number 1 overall, I'll be forced to go to Mohegan Sun and watch a bunch of Connecticut Sun, uh, Indiana Fever games against Caitlin Clark. There's actually a whole thing that the WNBA is like freaking out over attendance, where like they're trying to get into bigger arenas. Like the Aces in Vegas are trying to do this right now for when Indiana shows up to play them. So they're trying to get into T-Mobile because right now they play at the
Wow.
UNLV facility. Like that's what they're expecting, the whole Caitlin Clark effect. It's supposed to be the new. This is the women's generation of LeBron, right? But LeBron already went into stadiums already built, right? At WNBA, they're playing in, I don't want to say podunk stadiums, but they're not playing in like NBA stadiums or NBA arenas. But that's what the WNBA is doing right now. So they're like freaking out insanely. So anyway,
Yeah,
those are my sources.
I could speak to that too, Nuggets. I did watch the game too, and I looked at tickets because the Sun actually played the Fever in the season opener. So about 4 days before Caitlin Clark declared for the WNBA draft, I looked at tickets and I was like, "There's $25 tickets there. I should buy a handful of them, and if I can't go, I can resell them and they'll be up to." And of course, I didn't do it. And then I looked back the next day. The cheapest tickets were like $110. So it's real. The interest is real. I don't know how true the number of 19 million viewers was, but I know I did watch it, and she's a lot of fun to watch. She's a lot like Stephen Curry. That's my comparison for her. She's like the women's version of Stephen Curry. So lots of fun. But anyway, now we're doing a golf and women's basketball show on the Walter Football Podcast. Who would have seen this coming?
So we covered five sports.
Yes, yep. I was not one of the 19 million. I didn't even know that happened. So it's news to me. Thanks, Cassandra, for pointing it out. Kevin Kovac with $5 super sticker. Thanks so much, Kevin. Really appreciate it. Again, you've been so great this past week, and again with your support, it really means a lot to us. So if you have any questions or comments, we'll bump it up and we'll answer. John saying Tiger Woods is 2-1 to win the Masters in 2002. Now he's 14,000 to 1. Oh, he's 140 to 1. He needs to go back to courting Applebee's waitresses. That is the key to success. It was taken away from him.
Didn't Tiger swear off sex before the Masters? Wasn't that the big headline out? Was that like, I'm not going to have sex before the Masters because he needs to focus on the Masters?
It's kind of like a boxer, right? They won't
right. Women weaken legs.
Yeah. Right. So I don't know. I feel like we have conflicting things here. Because I just says people will watch her in the WNBA for a couple of weeks and then we can go back to not caring. That's my prediction. Anyway, all right. So let's get to the AK guys.
Actually, I have one more comment. I did make a comment on all the golfers, but I wanted to make one more comment, and that was actually Victor Hovland. I know I follow enough on Twitter with some different golf betting sites as well. And Victor Hovland was a very popular bet last year to win win a major this season. And now if you look at his salary, I mean, he used to be last year always in the 10K range. Now he's dipping down to the 9K. Hasn't looked like himself throughout the entire season. And so if you think about that, for people that were so excited last year, now they see him now and see his stats. It's very interesting to see what's kind of going on with our people actually going to want to play him or not. Because I mean, if they've had those future bets and now they're down on him, they're going to feel bad if he actually goes out and chips the tournament.
Yeah, we bet him at the BMW and the FedEx Championship last year. He was awesome. It just feels like maybe he's done a little too much celebrating. As a young guy, I'm sure he's out partying after all that. So I wonder if that kind of had a carryover effect. I'm sure he'll be great in the future. It just feels like he just hasn't had his A game or even his B game for that matter this year. So
Yeah, and to kind of hammer that home, Walter, not to cut you off,
Yeah.
I've been following a lot of the beat writers and people that are on the course and boots on the ground. And one of the guys they're saying is Victor just looks completely lost. He just has, it just seems like he doesn't even want to be there.
yeah,
So to me, that already freaks me out because they're already reporting out like Brooks looks dialed, Xander looks dialed, Morikawa looks lost, Victor looks lost. So they're actually saying that Spieth is looking good, which is interesting at 9,300. I'm seeing between 13 and 15% ownership. He's got a Q tag, I know, but just something to put in the back of your head of like, Spieth is looking good. I mean, if I remember right, he was fourth last year. He didn't make the cut in 2022, but 21 he was third. He won it back in 2015. Is it Spieth time? I don't know.
He's one of those guys
Possibility.
that can just shoot it right into the rough, just like have the worst shots and just magically get into just dart right onto the green. It's just, how do you do that? He's kind of almost he's just almost like Tom Brady in some ways, where it's like, how did you do that sort of thing?
Do not ever bring Tom Brady into this conversation. My Lord and Savior, how dare you?
If you guys want context, Spieth graded 6th in my model, so my model does like him this week. Whether my model is correct is questionable, though. That's always the big thing we don't learn until after the event.
Okay, so
Yeah.
your model's got 6, and I've seen one model have him in the top 10. I've got another one that has him in the top 15.
Yeah, Jacob and I are usually like on point with our models. Like, I am way off on Spieth. I have him 52nd in my model. I don't like him at all.
Ooh.
But I don't know why. Like, he grades very poorly in scrambling, par 5 scoring, bogey avoidance, and approach. Like, he's in like the 90s and all of them. That's why I don't know what you based yours off on, Jacob. But like, those are like 4 of my main categories, and like he's really down there. But
yeah, it's weird. His approach is really off right now. It's so.
Yeah, his approach is the most negative thing he has on mine. But I use strokes gained around the green instead of scrambling. I think that's probably our main difference because his strokes gained around the green is in the 50s, and most of the stats I used, he's 50 or better.
Yeah, and I used the last 3 years at Augusta, and it was Spieth, Hideki, Xander, Tony Finau, and Justin Thomas were the top ones around the green last 3 years.
Yeah, that adds up. That makes a lot of sense.
all right, interesting. All right, let's go to the 8K range here. Honestly, I don't like much in this range. I actually have a lot of 7K guys above these 8K guys. So I'm not going to read off all these names. Dustin Johnson is someone I have in my top 10. He won something in Las Vegas 2 months ago. So he grades highly for this course. A lot of the other guys have either been struggling or just are bad course fits. Bryson DeChambeau, I don't mind him. He's 16th in my model, so it's worth a look. Sam Burns is in the top 20. Don't love him. I'd rather play guys in the 7K range. So yeah, I mean, Dustin Johnson really the only consideration here for me, and I'm just not going to play anyone here. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I have a lot of 7K guys above the 8Ks. Tony Finau cracked the top 10 for me. I know he hasn't had the greatest year, especially with his putter. I think he's been putting really poorly. He has that weird unorthodox thing too, where like the toe of the putter or one part of the putter is off the ground at an angle. And every time I watch it, I'm like, how is it possible that this works? And it has worked for him in the past, but when it's not working, it's really ugly to watch. But yeah, I think I would consider him, but I think I like some other cheaper plays better than him. Like you, Walt, I do have Sam Burns inside my top 20. He's at 14 for me. Shane Lowry right at 8,000 is at 15. He's such a well-rounded golfer that I usually tend to build looking at the top guys I want to play and then my top like lower money guys first. But Shane Lowry's a guy who, if I'm looking for someone at the end and I have say like 16,000 to spend on 2 golfers, I would definitely look at him and say, man, he's just super consistent. And, is he going to win the Masters? Maybe not, but is he going to finish top 10? he's always got a chance because when he's at his best, he's just rock solid in every category, really. So I like him a little bit. And look, he's like, I relate to him. He's like walking up hills and he's telling the reporters, he's like, oh, it's going to take a lot to get up this top of the hill. I'm doing a Shrek accent, not an Irish one. This is not working as well as I planned, but I love the dude. His personality really speaks to me. So I like the idea of backing him if you need one of those like real mid-tier plays to complete your lineup.
I thought the accent was wonderful, Jacob.
Thank you. I'm very bad at accents. That's my biggest weakness.
No, I thought it was great. All right, what do you think? What do you think, Butters?
This is a tough range because I feel like most of the research I've been doing, just like I took salaries out of the equation. Like I kind of started looking at actually like DraftKings salaries like yesterday. So before I was just like looking at just the names of the tournament, and everyone that I kept on going through was 9K and up for the most part. And so this range with an 8K is really tough for me to kind of, do I love it? Do I hate it? That sort of thing. But then you also kind of have that feeling that, someone out of this range you're going to need him because he's going to be top 5 in the tournament. And you just have a weird kind of build construction that you just couldn't get to him. For instance, if people are going to play Scheffler and Hideki, well, are they going to try to then force in like Lowry or DeChambeau or that sort of factor? I don't know. But speaking also of Bryson, he seems to be kind of picking up some steam and talked about quite a bit on Twitter as a bet, as just like a good as a good placement, or excuse me, as a good outright bet. But it's very hard again to compare Bryson, especially with his course history. Like it should be a course that he should excel at, but his course history here is terrible. However, do you really think Bryson is going to beat Scotty? I don't think he will.
Yeah, 2 missed cuts the last 2 years. I mean, for Bryson, I can't get behind that. Sam Burns, his wife's pregnant, might be due this week. I'm not getting on that train either. Shane Lowry, to your point, I like fat guys that can golf and can get up hills. And he's pretty fat. And he's had some good course history the last 4 years, 25th, 21, 3rd, and 16th last year. At 8,000, if you're talking like the 7Ks and talking like a Scotty, then like a 9K guy, an 8K guy, you couldn't do any worse than Shane. I don't see anybody else that's kind of tickling my fancy that, doesn't get me completely into like a 6K build, right? Unless you go grab Tiger and then you do like 2 7K guys, right? But Shane, for me, you can sell me on him. I mean, low ownership right now. But I think the 7Ks are where the real money's going to be at. I mean, there's a lot of guys that finished really strong last couple of years that I'm excited about. So,
Yeah.
So,
go ahead.
I was going to say Cam Smith is in this range. So would it change your mind knowing that he cut his mullet? Would that change how you think?
It's the equivalent of like Matthew Fitzpatrick getting like braces. I don't care.
I downgraded Smith for his mullet, honestly, and now I'll have to upgrade him. So he finished.
If you can't let your freak flag fly, what's the point? Like the mullet was the selling point. Damn,
yeah.
What are you doing?
No, he's 17th in my model, so I guess I'd have some interest in him if I were MMEing, but I'm not. So
yeah, but then you're missing out on the 9K guy. Then like you'd have to go like if we did just for hypothetical, Scotty, you skip all 9K and you go to Cam Smith, you're instantly different, no question. I just don't know if Cam Smith is worth that risk.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Kevin with the $10 super sticker. Thank you so much, Kevin.
Wow.
Really appreciate it. Once again, just this means a lot because YouTube ads pay absolutely nothing, like season-long fantasy basketball and baseball. Let's break up the 7K range because we all seem to like the 7K range. Let's do 7.9 to 7.5, and then we'll do 7.4 to 7 flat. We have Fitzpatrick, Harmon, Day, Thigala, Sung JM, Tyrrell Hatton, Fleetwood Connors, and that is it right now in the upper 7K range. I kind of like a few guys here. Thigala is 11th in my model. Connors is 12th in my model, and Hatton is 13th in my model. Dayton and Jason Day is 14th in my model. So these are guys like in the close to the top 10 of what I have on my spreadsheet. So I have interest in all of them. So they're all in consideration for me. So those are the 4 guys I'm looking at. I haven't bet any of them though. There are 2 other bets I made. One is in the lower 7K range, and one's in the 6K range. So I got that guy at 120 to 1. So bring him up later. But Jacob and then the other Jacob, then Butters, and then Nuggets. What do you guys think?
All right, well, I want you to guess which one of these golfers I have already bet and absolutely loved this week.
Hatton.
It's not Tyrrell Hatton.
It's got to be Jason Day, right?
It is not Jason Day. It is Sahith Theegala. I love him this week. He came out graded 4th in my model. He finished 9th at the Masters last year in his first appearance at the course, which is pretty amazing feat. And I just think that between his course history, I know it's only one time, but between that and the fact that he's entering with pretty decent form overall, and the fact that he's pretty good off the tee, he's top 15 in strokes gained off the tee. He's 11th in greens in regulation, and he's 13th in strokes gained putting. So if he can remain as accurate as those numbers kind of indicate and avoid kind of trouble and needing to scramble too often, I think he can go pretty low and challenge. So at 7,700, I love him. I think I'm going to have him in all of the lineups that I make for this. It just seems like a great value pick. And I just don't know that he has I think he has a pretty high floor just because of his form, his course history. He's young. I get it. He could maybe just have a blip on the radar and not do well, but he's in good form right now. So I'm going to be willing to trust him. He's my favorite in the 7K range for sure. So I already DraftKings is doing this thing where you can have, if you place a $25 bet on a golf, you can get a free $25 bet back. So I bet $25 on him to win it all. And will that work out? We'll see. But at the very least, if he can stay in contention, that'll give me a good chance to hedge with some other guys. That's
pretty cool. I didn't know about that. That deal that they have. So not even sponsored by DraftKings. They got a plug. So any time a sportsbook offers you free money, you should definitely take them up on that offer or free bet. Definitely take them up on that offer because you have to beat the VIG somehow. So Butters, what do you think?
Well, I know Thigala is going to be actually really popular, not only in the betting world, but also on DFS as well. Just his price makes it very attractive to try to get Scheffler in. He's been showing, especially earlier in the season, that even with a win, when he gets rolling, he gets rolling. Especially in the 4th round of last year, that got him into the top 10. Just with that one kind of spike round as well. So he's definitely got the potential, but I don't think he's going to win. And just with ownership wise and just playing with game theory, I don't think I can play him just because I think I'm keep on telling myself here, how do I organically make a lineup? And one of the organically lineups that I'm thinking of right now is, okay, you can go Scotty, Hideki, and then Thigala. And it's like, okay, well, now I'm already fighting against half the world. So it's got to be one or the other. And so that's kind of where one of my fades is going to be possibly, is just that ownership. But maybe I will have a little bit of interest. However, also in that range as well, I am actually kind of interested more in like a Tyrrell Hatton, or even kind of the person that's not really being talked about much is Sung JM. I mean, he's got the course history here, and it just seems like his stats kind of match this course, not just to back it up as well. And no one seems to be on him just because he hasn't been having he's been kind of overlooked compared to like Wyndham Clark and Thigala and some other names out there as well. So he's just kind of being overlooked.
How are you guys? Do you guys hate Canada? Like that much? Do you really hate Canada? Is Corey Connors not like yeah, he missed the cut last year, but he's been playing some really good golf. He's 6, 8, 10 the 3 years prior. Like to me, he's 13th in my model. Corey Connors is like a slam dunk here. Like give me him and Thigala and Scotty. I'll skip the 9Ks and I'll figure it out. Like that right there is an awesome build with a ton of upside. You know, I'm shocked to see that he's like just at 15%. I thought he'd be a lot higher. I see people around him who is it? Like Jason Day's at like 17% on one site. Fitzpatrick's at 15%. Uh, you know, give me the Corey Connors. I'll take it and I'll run with it. You know, I bounce back year. You know, he missed the cut last year. I'd be pissed off I would miss the cut last year, and now give me that. Yeah, Canada is great. It is, and I do love hockey, and I do hate soccer. And yes, Canada is America's hat.
I mentioned Connors, so don't.
I know you did, but I'm just saying, like, it seemed like everybody else like forgot about Connors. I'm like, well, nobody's mentioned Connors in any of this.
Yeah, no, I have respect for Canada. I like the maple pudding that they have at their weddings. It's very nice.
The poutine.
That's right. No, I like Connors. He's, like I said, he's 12th in my model. I was definitely considering him in my one lineup. He might make the cut. We'll see. So we have actually.
There is one more person in that range I forgot to talk about, which was Brian Harmon. It seems like he's dealing with some sort of like wrist or back injury or something like that. I think it's something. I think I heard some report last week on the not this week, but last week down the practice course, they kind of like tweaked his back or something of that sort. So we stopped. He stopped in the middle of his practice round to kind of get that checked out. So it's a little bit concerning though, but left-handed golfers do have a little bit of an advantage here at Augusta.
Okay, yeah, I had not heard that, but you know, it kind of makes sense. You know, ever since he lost to Scheffler here, he's not done well, so it's interesting. But a couple comments. Quacky says I'd upgrade him if he had a rat tail haircut, though. Quacky knows my my disdain for rat tail haircuts. I told him that when I was a kid, I wish I had like scissors so I could like cut those rat tails off. It just really bothered me. And John asking Michelle Wee, what happened to her? I remember her like being so hyped up. Does she still golf? I had no idea. Anyone know?
I believe she retired last year, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
now
it's she like in the 30s or something.
Yeah, and now there's some other golfers taking over. Rose, I'm blanking on her name, but she's from Stanford.
Rose Zhang.
Yeah, that's it. She won her first tournament out, and she's been killing it since.
Michelle Wee is 34. That's pretty young to retire. I don't. Not that I know anything about women's golf. I don't know. Like maybe they all retired in the 30s, but
I think she had injury issues, if I remember correctly. So I think, I think that accelerated her into retirement because she just couldn't stay healthy. So she decided to call it quits. But yeah, now Rose Zhang is taking over, and Nelly Korda, I think, has won like 4 starts in a row.
That's correct.
This is about the extent of my women's golf knowledge right now, but I'll work on brushing that up for next time.
I'm trying to find Rose Zhang. I googled, got me Rouge Yang, which is Chinese herb. So I clearly don't know how to spell her name. All right, let's go to the lower 7K range. We begin with Tom Kim. We go to Patrick Reed, and then there are some other big names who have done well at the Masters. One guy I really like is Siwoo Kim. He's been doing well lately. He's got 6th in the Players Championship, 17th at the Texas Open. I like Siwoo here. He's done well here. He's gotten 12th in the Masters a few years ago. I think he's a great fit for this course. He's made the top 10 of my model. I think because of he's 25th in scrambling, he's 25th, he's 20th in par 5 scoring, he's 5th in bogey avoidance, he's 27th in approach. This is a second shot course, which is really important. So he's in the top 30 of all the major categories that I care about. So I actually bet Siwoo at 85-1, I believe. Let me pull it up to make sure I got that correct. Yeah, Siwoo 85 is plus 8,500. 85.50, sorry, a bookmaker. So I bet him at 0.35 units to win 30. So that's almost the same number that we had Akshay at last week. So it was nice to get that bet, and so it would be awesome to get sort of this one. So Siwoo is what I'm looking at here in the lower 7K range. Like, yeah, I do like Connor, so he's pretty close to the lower 7K range as well. But Siwoo is my favorite guy here. Although there are a lot of good names here. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, to be clear, I do like Corey Connors as well. I was just very gung-ho about pounding the table for Sahith Theegala. But, Walt, you'll be very happy to know that Siwoo Kim ranks 5th in my model here.
Nice.
So I like him for all the reasons that you outlined. And we're using different stats to back up why he's good on this course, which, that maybe it ends up being good that he's highly ranked in both of ours, because the only potential areas for weakness I see on him is that he doesn't have the greatest driver distance, but he's super accurate. So that will set him up for those approach shots. And his putting is below average, but as we've said before, anyone can get hot with the short stick or have one of those spike rounds where they make a lot of great putts. So I think it's 7,100. Siwoo Kim feels like the kind of guy who could pop off here. So I like him a lot. Stefan Jaeger also cracked the top 10 in my model at 7,100. He's been buoyed by some good play as of late. I believe he won one of the recent tournaments in Texas. I can't remember which one, but his off the tee game is really strong. He's top 10 in driving distance, top 30 in strokes gained off the tee. So I know this is more of an approach course, but if he can shorten the course a bit on those par fives, I think he's going to have a chance to kind of keep things close to the top for him. Like, I don't know if he'll win, but at 7,100, I think there's a chance that he could crack the top 10 or at least be a top 20 guy.
Real quick, Kevin with another $10 super sticker. This is awesome. Thank you so much, Kevin. It's a really, really big help. Thank you for supporting the show. It really means a lot. I want to mention two other guys here before we move on. Russell Henley is in the top 10 of my model. I think he's 9th. He's great marks for scrambling. He's 11th. He's 11th in bogey avoidance. He's 49th in par 5 scoring. Has a good history at Augusta, so I like him as well. And then I feel like we should at least mention last week's winner, Akshay Bhatia. He's in the top 20 in my model, but he doesn't have a picture. How disrespectful. He got hurt celebrating, when he hit that putt to send it to extra shots. He did something with the shoulder and he kept rolling his shoulder, and I was so tilted because I had him at 68-1 the entire day, and I was like, yeah, I did have a hedge on McCarthy, but I don't know, it was not enough to offset that, and I was so pissed when McCarthy looked like he was going to win, and then Akshay came up clutch. Then he got hurt, of course. I'm like, oh god, this is ridiculous. We're going to lose. And then McCarthy hits the ball into the water somehow. We somehow won, but I think Bhatia should be mentioned at least. But the fact that he got hurt will take me off of him. And plus, this is his first time here, so no real interest, even though he won last week. So anyway, Butters, you go ahead.
I actually like a little bit of Bhatia in this case because not a lot of people like to bet back-to-back winners, especially ones that are going against Scottie Scheffler. However, it certainly is possible. He does actually have some history here. I believe it was the drive chip putt challenge or whatever it was when he was young. So he's actually been at Augusta in the past. So it's not that he's not new to the course in some ways. Granted, that was a while ago. But again, and he's also a lefty too, so that does give him a little bit of an edge over some other golfers. One golfer that I actually kind of liking, maybe I just have a history of wanting to play him, and no one's been talking about him at all, is Justin Rose. I used to play him quite a bit, and I still do on occasion, but I do because I like him only at now a couple courses. One of the courses, for instance, I like to play him at is Pebble Beach. And he really hasn't done much since Pebble, but that doesn't mean he can't go out and just kind of spike around. I mean, he's at his age, he's kind of playing for majors or bust at this point because he's doing a lot of world tour events as well. So he's not just not playing. I mean, he's kind of all around out there, but who's to say that he can't just kind of get himself in a contention like he did a couple of years ago after that first round? I believe he shot like a -7 that day too, and just he unfortunately didn't win, but he had to play catch me if you can game, and that was great. He just that one spike round just immediately got him into contention. And if I remember right, I think it was raining during that round as well, and it looks like we've got some rain coming through on Thursday. So we don't know if the tournament is going to be delayed or if they're going to have to play through some rain. So I've been kind of looking at maybe some rounds that had some weather concerns. And I believe last year it was either day 2 or day 3. I think they had a delay and they had to finish up round 1 that morning. But on that same day, not only did Brooks continue to go full steam ahead, but Henley was actually had a great round during that weather as well. So I got a little bit of an interest again, just kind of based on that weather, seeing if they do have to play through it. Maybe he is decent in the weather area or during a weather round in that case. I'm looking down the range here as well. Minwoo Lee, I think I heard that he may have broken his finger a while back. So I don't know if I want to trust a golfer that has a broken finger. I guess I could sprinkle in a little bit of Ricky Fowler. He seems to pop when no one's on him, and he hasn't done anything here as of late as well. So he could just be a kind of a dart throw play. But other than that, I'm just kind of playing the field.
Yeah, real quick, it says DraftKings says that Minwoo Lee broke his right index finger on March 30th when he dropped the 20-pound dumbbell on it.
That's less than ideal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
what do you think?
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one name that I'm not hearing is another Canadian, Nick Taylor. And I got to tell you, Nick Taylor last year, when he finished second, and he missed he skipped, I think, the 2022 tournament, or maybe he was injured, I forget. But then he was 21st, 55th, and 18th, right? I think Nick Taylor could be a great, if you're going for that, Scotty build, he's another guy you can plug in there and go with. I think he'd be great. I mean, actually, I'm a little scared about it with the shoulder, so I'm off him. If history is anything to kind of tell me, I honestly think Jaeger's going to miss the cut. And here's why. Because he goes in the last 5 weeks, right? He finishes third. He misses the cut. Then he finishes 44th. And then next week he misses the cut. He wins. So law of averages, he's going to miss the cut. I mean, if history is going to hold true, so I'd almost want to see what the number is for Jaeger to miss the cut on this. I mean, I think the course does line up for him, but I could see him just spraying it all over the place and hitting trees, being a righty. Because as Butters pointed out, being a lefty does have an advantage on this course. We all say about Jaeger bombs and everything. I just think he might miss the cut, and I'm willing to kind of trade that 12% leverage of what I'm seeing in ownership and putting it elsewhere if I can avoid that. So, and if I can get Nick Taylor at 2%, I'm in.
That's how I played. That's how I played Hoagie last year too. The same idea, law of averages, because he went second, miscut first, miscut fourth, or something like that too. And it was just, he just seems to party too hard after a top 5, and then he comes on back and does his thing again.
That's it tracks all the way back to the start of the season. He went 18th and then 52nd and then 3rd and then 71st and then the pattern that you mentioned, Nuggets. And it's special here because usually the cut is the top 60, but here it's top 50. So he wouldn't have made the cut in those tournaments. I don't think that he got 52nd and 71st. So that's pretty interesting. I actually I used to email back and forth with this it's scientist guy, or at least that's what he claimed. Who knows? It could have been some 15-year-old kid. I don't know. But he claimed that biorhythms were a real thing, and he said that he would be able to track all NFL players' biorhythms with like if he had, I don't know, if he had like more data or something like that. I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. I don't know, like he wasn't trying to sell me anything. That's what I first suspected when he first sent me that email. But yeah, I don't know. He sounded at least pretty knowledgeable. So if he was a 15-year-old kid, he's did a good job of hiding it. But yeah, I think that you're onto something here with this zigzag pattern for Jaeger. I was really pissed that he won this because I had Scheffler. I bet him. Like, granted, it was a bad number and it wasn't a great fit for the course, but I was still going to bet him at the Houston Open. And he missed a 3-foot putt to send it to extra shots.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't even watch it. I was, I think it was Easter Sunday. I was like driving home with my wife and the 2 kids. So like I was just watching on my phone and like suddenly it was like Scheffler and Jaeger were like minus 110 each. I was like so stupid for not hedging with Jaeger at that point, but anyway, just bad memories here. So I'm anti-Jaeger at the moment. So the 6K range, this is the group where these guys either suck or they have adult diapers. And like there are some names you'll definitely recognize, and I guess like you might include like Phil Mickelson here, 7K flat. He finished second last year.
Phil.
Right, he finished second here at the Masters last year, which was shocking. And then, you have your Tiger Woods. You have, I believe VJ Singh is in here somewhere. You have Bubba Watson, and like a bunch of like guys who you know of. But like, I think that like we're not talking about winning this tournament, but I think at least like putting like top 20s on some of these guys, I think could work out because they know this course like the back of their hand. Like that was like perfect for Phil Mickelson last year. Like he knows Augusta super well. So he did fantastic at Augusta last year, whereas like every other tournament he sucked. So like what surprised me if he finished like 17th or something. Same thing with a bunch of other guys. So I think that you could definitely take some shots here at top 20s or maybe even top 10s if you're bold enough. One guy who stood out to me in the 6K range is Sergio Garcia. He's 6,800 and he ranks so well in my model. He's 4th in my model somehow. I was shocked. I was like something wrong here, but he's 5th in scrambling. He's 9th in par 5 scoring. He's 9th in bogey avoidance and he's 34th in approach. Now granted, these are live stats, so they could be misleading, but he's done well here. I mean, like recently he's got 2nd in Miami, 2nd at whatever this place is, Mayakoba. So I think that he's worth a shot here. He's definitely going to make my lineup if he's in the top 5 of my model at 6,800. So I'm going to be playing him. Some other guys in the 6K range I like are Chris Kirk at 6,900. He's been golfing really well this season. He won a tournament. He won the Century. Has some other top 20 or I guess top 26 finishes. 6,900. He's in the top 25 in my model, so he's at least caught my eye. Kurt Kitayama at 6,400 he's 25th of my model, so he's worth looking at as well. And if you want to go all the way down, if you want to play like someone incredibly cheap, I think like Zach Johnson at 6,100 is not horrible. Like I feel like he should be like 6,700, like based on what I have in my model. He is like 50th, I think. But he has a decent course history here. I know he's one of the older guys, but he's like one of those guys like Phil Mickelson who could just like pop out of nowhere. Like, and this will be like the one tournament he does well in this year. But he did get 21st about a month and a half ago, so he can do it. So 6,100, I feel like he could do a lot worse. So those are the guys I'm looking at. I did bet what's his face, Sergio Garcia at 120 to 1 on FanDuel. So a quarter of a unit to win 30. So let's go. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, I like that play on Garcia. I think that's a solid, like, just, 120 to 1 long shot who might have a chance to pop in the right circumstance. I'm with you there on Chris Kirk as well. I think he's probably my favorite of these 6,000 range guys just because, generally speaking, he's pretty consistent in his course history at the Masters. Last year, he was tied for 23. And I know he hadn't played except for the 14 to 16 range, but in 2 of those 3 appearances, he finished top 33. So I feel like that's pretty okay. And with the way he's been playing, it wouldn't surprise me to see him finish top 20. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that Matthew Pavon is the top 6,000 range guy in my model. I'm not trusting that, though, because Pavon has been really good this year, but it's his first time at Augusta. So, he's a veteran golfer, which is good, but I don't feel like in a different situation, I'd be willing to trust him, but not here at Augusta. So that's why Kirk is going to be my top of the 6,000 range guys. And Walt, you said you had Zach Johnson at 50 in your model. Strangely enough, he is 50th in my model as well. So we have that weird exact similarity despite using different stats. So that's good. And I actually don't mind if you're going to go like stars and scrubs approach. Yeah, why not take a shot on him at 6,100? Like you said, he could end up having a solid showing. And really all you need him to do in that case is make the cut and have like one potential spike round, and you'll feel pretty good about yourself.
So after a slow start with our model combos, we finished strong. I like it. Butters, what do you think?
Well, I will not be playing Zach Johnson. I don't think. I think he. I just don't have anything nice to say about him. I'm just not going to play him. I think nothing nice to say about that guy. If he top 10s, congratulations to him. But some players that I do kind of like in this range, and actually I kind of wanted to go back into because you mentioned Phil Mickelson, even though he's 7K. Another 7K that I kind of wanted to tap along with what Nuggets said was Nick Taylor. That one of kind of a semi course comp to Augusta actually would be Scottsdale, so the Waste Management, and he just won the Waste Management this year, and he took second the year before. So yes, I see your point here, Nuggets. So there is a little bit of correlation there with again with Scottsdale. That's the same. That would be the same with Kurt Kitayama. He took he tied for 8th place this year at Scottsdale as well. He's got length off the tee. He's actually played the course before, so that can kind of put him into contention in that case, because again, you don't really see you don't normally see a first timer win at Augusta, and I don't really think there ever has been, to be honest. Correct me if I'm wrong. Now again, Kurt Kitayama last year missed the cut, but again, he's got some experience and he's got some more golf, some more comp that he can do as well. I know Moronk, he got kind of some interest as well, just probably because he has shown some top 10 in the live as well. And he did also play last year, even though he missed a cut. Just a little bit of interest there, just because he's playing just decently well. Trying to think here. Who's to say Tiger Woods can't come out of nowhere, have some magic, and get back into the top 5? Who knows if he can? I mean, walking down the course, is he still injured? Is he still limping? It's tough to say. I mean, it's hard to stomach seeing the many years of Tiger Woods just going through and just having an amazing run, and then just have it all come flat. But again, we saw Phil Mickelson last year, just amazing course history, hasn't done anything all year. Who's to say Tiger Woods can't do the exact same thing? I also do like Sergio Garcia as well. He's shown to be improving very well, actually, on the Live Tour, and I think that can carry over to this week as well with a tie for second place here as well for. Actually, didn't he lose the? I don't think it was a tie for second place. Didn't he lose in the playoff against Burmeister? I think that's what was the case there. He did lose. I think that's what happened there. But even so, he's gaining some steam coming into the tournament as well.
So to answer what you were wondering, has there ever been a first-time Masters player who won? There has to be, because the first time Masters was played. No, I know what you mean. Excluding that, there have been 2 first-time Masters winners ever. In 1935 was Gene Sarazen, and then in 1979 Fuzzy Zeller. So that hasn't happened since 1979. Nuggets, what do you think?
All right, so I'm going to be a little unconventional here. And I do like Tiger. I think if you want to play him for Mystique, I get it. I mean, DK has that prop where if he makes the cut, it's plus 100. There's that promo. So I can get behind that. The ones that kind of get me right now is like 6,600 and below. The Jake Knaps, Denny McCarthy, who I think has the best short game in the PGA right now. I know people talk about Scotty, and I think Scotty's a great like all-around golfer. But if you want short game, chips, putts, second shots, Denny's your guy. I mean, he's just been killing it. And he finished second, I think, last week. Yeah, last week at Valero. Rolling into this, I could see him coming in and top fiving this. He projects very well in my model, and I got him at sub 10% right now, and he's at 6,200. For me, that seems like a steal. The other one I'll mention is also I'm going to butcher his name because I don't know how the hell to say it. Royo Hisatuni. He showed up in my model in the top 25, but the last four Masters, 50th, 10th, 26th, 25th. And he's been playing really good golf the last 5 weeks. 37th, 40th, 2nd, and then also I just lost my place. 53 and 38. So I think he got kind of players, but he's been playing some good golf. So for me, I'm looking at him as a potential, good fit. Could be a guy to watch out for at 1% ownership. If you're looking for a punt at 6,300 and you don't want to go to a chalky Denny, even though he's sub 10, but it's like people see Denny and it's like, oh, Denny's comfortable. So I love Denny. I think no matter what, I'm going to play him.
Yeah, I think Denny said he thinks he can win this tournament.
Yeah.
So you gotta love the confidence. He was unconscious on Sunday. It like I don't know, was it the 15th hole that like he made that chip? And I was like, as soon as he hit that, I'm like, oh my god, this is over. Because I saw Akshay's lead dwindle slowly but surely throughout the day. I was like kicking myself for not hedging more, and I was like, my god, this guy's gonna win. And then I can't believe he hit the water on the first extra shot. But yeah, I mean 6,200. Like I feel like everyone's gonna play him. But if you're not concerned about his ownership, then I think he's a good play. I think he's like 30th in my model or something.
Yeah, I mean, I've checked. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go. Mine was just I have a complicated relationship with him because of the time he cost me $2,000 by blowing like a 6-shot lead last year.
Was that against Victor Hovland? Because
indeed it was. I did hedge, but that was an uncomfortable. And then I had money on Batia last week, and I didn't have a particularly large hedge on Denny McCarthy, so I was like, is he gonna opposite do what he did to me that time? But I love Denny, I actually do. But every time I seem to trust him, he gets very close, and then
it's like him and me and Cam Young. I think I call him Scam Young because every time I think he's going to do great, and like my model says he's going to do awesome, it says top 10, miscut all the time.
Strokes gained, quit.
Mm-hmm.
There was another dart throw that I kind of looked at when I was looking at some models here. It was kind of eye-opening as well too. There's one golfer that has a top 15 putting stat and a top 5 par 4 scoring. Everything else is in the red. And actually, there's one more. Actually, I did see him in kind of a top 20 in distance as well. But everything else with the stats just say horrible. I was very surprised to see him. It was Nick Dunlap. It was like interesting. And like par 5 scoring is very, very important here at Augusta. He's never played. This is his first. Let's see here. Has he played here before? I'm not sure if he has or hasn't.
Dunlap? No.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he has, but last time he played he had a T14 or a T11 or something. I'm sorry, it's on the screen here. But I mean, if par 5 scoring is a very important stat for this course, and we've got some weather concerns, I mean that could put you in contention right there.
And Quacky says Ryu could do Hadouken, so maybe Ryo Hasatune can do as well. So that's something I did not put in my model, but it's definitely worth considering. And Quacky also asking, can I bet that the winner will be a Canadian-born player? You probably can in some sports books, but you are limited, Quacky. I know you are limited to Hard Rock because you're in Florida. So yeah, I guess you could check Hard Rock, but what you could do is you could just bet all the Canadians. And I think that'll kind of be the same, right?
There is actually a nationality prop for the
on
Masters.
what sports book?
DK. It's a Asian winner is plus 1,000, English winner plus 2,000, European winner is plus 225. Rest of the world, which I'm assuming is Canada, will be plus 450, because then there's a USA winner that's minus 165, yes, or no at plus 125.
Okay, interesting. All right. What about like any other bets you guys have made? I know we've covered most of the players, but I read off the guys I bet. I'm gonna just run through it once more. So my bets for the Masters are Scotty Scheffler at plus 480 to bookmaker, 2 units to win 9.6. Hideki Matsuyama 22-1 on FanDuel or DraftKings. I think that's dropped to 20-1, but I got it 22-1 yesterday. So 1 unit to win 22. Will Zalatoris, he's plus 45.50 on bookmaker, bet 1 unit to win 45.5. My 2 long shots, Siwoo Kim, plus 85.50 on bookmaker, betting 0.35 units to win 29.292. And then Sergio Garcia, my super long shot, 120-1 on FanDuel. I don't know if that price has changed. Let me look. Let's see here. So it's still 120-1 on FanDuel, so you can still get that price. So a quarter of a unit to win 30. And as you can see here, you get bonus bets. You can get deals here at Bet365, BetMGM, DraftKings, FanDuel. These links here are on the site. So just make sure you get all the promo modes you can, and be on as many sports books as you can if you're outside of Florida, of course. And you can just get good deals, and it's definitely worth it to kind of beat the VIG. So I mean, it's if you guys have not bet anything, you can just pass. But what have you guys bet so far?
So I bet Thigala to win, and my current plan is probably to bet Schauffele, Clark, and Scheffler as well, and then take a long shot on Siwoo Kim. And I'll probably add some like mini hedges in there in terms of like betting some of them to go top 20. These are for like a tenth of a unit each for the most part to win however many. Except Scheffler, I'll probably bet a little more on just to be sure the payoff's worth it there. One I'm looking at, I had to write about the amateurs at the tournament today. There are 5 of them. I think Christo Lamprecht is going to be the low amateur. He's a 6'8" South African who can really pummel the ball. So who knows if I'm going to be right. I've never really seen any of these guys play except Lamprecht, but yeah, I will be taking him as the low amateur. I'm not betting him to win, though. That is a terrible idea. I would not recommend that. $1 to win it. Okay, maybe if you want to burn $1, go for it. But
you could do worse things with $1.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say it was the Open, the British Open. I want to say after round 1 last year, I think he was tied for first. So, you know, if he does that again, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I might win this bet. And then it'll probably collapse. But hey, it's fun, right?
Yeah. You can also bet 100 to win 100,000 if you want to waste $100. But yeah, it's interesting at least. It's good. Good shout out there. I kind of forgot about that. What he did in round 1. So yeah, I mean, like I said, you could do worse things with the dollar. But yeah, you're probably gonna waste it either way. But it's at least you're gonna have fun doing it. So all right, Butters and then Nuggets. What are you guys betting?
Well, I'm not in a betting state, so unfortunately I can't place any bets. However, when I'm looking at the board and if I would have some interests, if I'm looking at like prices on DraftKings compared to betting odds, I'm very surprised to see Sung J M is plus 10,000, so 101. That's crazy especially for his price on like his DraftKings salary on like for the Millie Maker, for any of those sorts of things. But yeah, that's just a crazy odds for someone that has course history there, can pop at any time. He's like the forgotten man, and sometimes these forgotten men, especially for these highly ranked golfers, that's just crazy odds to me. Kind of the same when I was looking. And another bet too is, Jacob, you said that Denny McCarthy was interested in, really thinks he can win the tournament. Well, if you feel the same, he's also 10,000 or plus 10,000 on DraftKings.
It's pretty wild to see Sungjae right above Tiger. Like, you have one guy in the prime of his career, and the other guy can barely walk. Like, so I think you're right. Like, that number is just wrong. But like, Sungjae has not played well or golf well recently this year. But who knows? That could always turn around. So, Nuggets, what are you betting?
I like Denny across the board. So I've got him winning. I've got him top 5, top 10, top 20, top 40. And the numbers got really interesting on DK because at top 40, he was minus 175. At top 30, he was plus 115. So it's just interesting the differences for that. I mean, a plus 10,000, yeah, sure. Plus 1,600 for top 5 and plus 650. It's just interesting that, like, I was getting a better number than some of the other ones around him, which was shocking for how good of a golfer he is. I've also bet on Scotty to win it and top 5 it as well. Same thing with Brooks. And these are all quarter units, nothing crazy. But the one that kind of I really wanted to kind of go after, I'm in agreement with you guys. Maybe Sahith could pull this off. So I bet him to win it and at least finish top 5. So
I'm glad we're on the same page. I like it when we're all rooting for the same guy to an extent. That it makes me happy to be able to text you guys and be like, "Oh yeah, he's doing well."
Yeah.
Or shit, close your laptop.
Yep. That's the other option. We don't like that one as much.
No, we don't.
Have beer and just enjoy the rest of the tournament.
Yeah. Thigala 55-1 here on FanDuel. Let's see what he is on bookmakers. Sometimes bookmaker has such great odds for golfers, and then other times just like they don't have like this pretty number. Like here on bookmakers, he's 45-1, Thigala, and then on FanDuel he's 55-1. So it's weird that like sometimes bookmaker is so much better and sometimes it's worse. But I kind of like that. Like I said, Thigala is he's 11th in my model, so. I like that 55-1. I definitely consider it. So, real quick, if you guys want to predict the winner, let's do. Let's say if Scheffler and Rahm do not win, let's go left to right. Who do you guys think is going to win?
I'm going to stick with what my model says and say Xander pulls off his first major win.
Okay.
I got two options. It'd be Brooks, even though doesn't show that he hasn't really been proving like he's ready, but I guess he turns it on for the majors. So I mean, you can never count out Brooks. And then the other would be Wyndham Clark. He's just playing phenomenal golf, even though this is the first time here. I mean, came into the U.S. Open, defied all odds. Who says he can't do it again?
All right, Nuggets.
Oh God, I just looked at Caesars and Sahith is plus 4,000 there. So something's telling me something. I'll stick with my conviction. I'll go with Sahith.
Okay, I'm gonna if Scheffler or Rahm don't win, I'm gonna go with Zalatoris.
That was my other pick. I was gonna go with him too.
Yeah, I like him a lot. I believe he was 2nd and 5th. His 2 Masters appearances, 2nd in 2021, 6th in 2022. Last year he was out with the back injury. And yeah, like he's been up and down because of the back injury, but 2nd and 4th here, like you see his potential. And I think he's improved his short game. At least that's what it looks like, or at least before the Houston Open. I don't know what happened there, but he has gotten better in that regard. I think so. I think he has a shot. Slew with the 444 super chat. Thank you so much, Slew. He's pointing out the Bet365 is a 50% profit boost. So he's getting Scheffler from 420 to plus 630. That is the key. That's what I'm always talking about. being on multiple sports books, getting these deals, even if they limit you, like say they limit you here. I don't know what the max bet is here, but like DraftKings usually has something too. So like you can combine your entire bet and like get like 420 to 630. That's a huge deal, especially like at that low number. So yes, I know Bet365 is not available in most states, but if you can get it, credit Slew here for giving you like about better than 6-1 odds on Scheffler.
I mean, if you're really wanting, like, you're really rooting for Scotty, and you're just kind of a casual player, why wouldn't you just place a nice bet like that plus 630 bet on Scheffler right there and just enjoy the sweat, because he should be top 5 in contention right there. So he should be giving you that sweat the entire weekend.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, it's a great built-in hedge too for your longer shots. So I like that. So great show, guys. I want to do this if you guys are willing before every major this year. Looking forward to it, and good luck to everyone with your DFS lineups and your bets. And please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video, visit the link in the description for the merch store. All that mean a lot to us. And really, thank you so much to Kevin for the $25 in super stickers. Just really appreciate it, Kevin. Just you've been so awesome here supporting us. And Slew for the 444 super chat. Thank you so much, Slew. If you guys want to plug anything, let's go left to right. Jacob, then Butters, the Nuggets in succession. What do you guys want to plug?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Jacob Camenker. I will tweet my sports thoughts about football, golf, women's basketball, you name it. I'll be talking about it. And over at sportingnews.com, I've got plenty of Masters stuff coming up. I did rank the top 30 golfers in the field over there. The results differ a little bit from my model because I had to wedge in the live golf guys and account for the course history better than my model does. But that was a fun exercise. So if you guys want to check that out, plenty of analysis over there. And if you got any questions, send them my way. If I see them, I'll do my best to answer them. But let's hope some of these bets hit.
Butters.
You can follow me on Twitter if you'd like. It's Butters360, 326 DFS. I'm just a normal guy here and just following what just the different information that I have. So, I don't have a lot of large following at all, but, I do really kind of hone in on different bettors that I take a look at, specifically golf. So, if you follow me and you want to see what I'm following, there you have it.
Nuggets?
Yeah, I'm just Nuggets DFS. Follow me for DFS or whenever I'm playing in poker tournaments. I tweet out occasional thoughts and props. Follow me there if you want to hit me up or DM me on any questions about bets or, you're just starting to get into this stuff. I'm more than happy to provide any type of guidance or input. Awesome.
We'll be back tomorrow. We'll be talking football with Kenny. I assume Kenny's gonna be on. Usually when he can't come on, he'll text me. So I assume Kenny's coming on Thursday. We're gonna have a special guest on to talk NFL draft, both a mock draft and also props. It's not Charlie, but it is another special guest. So I'm excited. He said he has some juicy props for us. So I can't wait to see what he comes up with. And then on Saturday, we're gonna have Tom on talking about everything. With football stuff, non-football stuff, and Game of Thrones rewatch. So looking forward to all that. Guys, thanks so much for coming on. Really appreciate it. Great talking about this with you, and hopefully one of us or all of us win big. It'd be awesome. And everyone, thank you so much for commenting and watching. Just really appreciate it. But we'll be back tomorrow, and I'll talk to you then.
All right, sounds good. Talk to you guys soon.
Bye.